Hey, we're gonna do something a little bit different today. We're gonna do like a tabletop review, which we're gonna follow with a range video next week. So we've got a bunch of the most popular concealed carry pistols, some new ones that are all in the same sort of class size here. And we're gonna talk about like what we like about them, the triggers, concealability. We'll follow up with recoil impulse once we get these at the range. They all have our recoil systems in them, but we're not really talking about our parts today. We're just gonna kind of compare the pistols and give the users kind of some feedback.
Yeah, first-hand experience based on us holding them. We both shot all these guns. Zach has different size hands, different form than I have. So
yeah,
between the two of us, hopefully we give you a pretty good idea of what you're getting into. Where do you want to start?
I'll start here. So I'm not a huge SIG fan. Old SIG I do like, but I've really talked a lot of trash about SIG in the later years just because of what they've done. The 365, I'm gonna break out away from the 320s just because of how the FCU works, like the internal components, the simplicity of it. This is a 365X macro with the Wilson module on it, but it doesn't really matter what grip module you're running. I feel the same about them. This one feels fantastic, by the way. This is the compensated model, and we have a fuse back there for R&D as well that we've shot. But I would say, honestly, out of all of these, this one's probably my favorite. So I'll go through, we're gonna talk about concealability, trigger, and then overall opinion, and we'll get to shootability later. But concealable, obviously, this one is the most concealable. It's the thinnest. You're able to run backup sights. All these are optic cut, but we're running the EPS carry on it. The new Romeo X is fantastic as well. So concealability wise, this is obviously the smallest, holds 17 rounds. I don't like that the 17 round mags stick out about a 1/4 inch past the end of the grip module. That is printable when carrying appendix, so it does matter. I really personally wish they'd gone with either a 15 or a 16 and gotten that flush or given us an option for that. Trigger's okay, it's fine. It's nothing really to talk about. It's just fine. It's fine for a carry gun. Shootability, like I've shot this one a bit, and I feel like it's nice with the compensator. If we match it with a recoil spring, it feels decent. It's not gonna give you as much comp as like a true ported barrel, like 3 or 4 ports on the top. You're not gonna get as much compensation out of their like slide comp that they do, but this is it's a really nice gun and very concealable.
It's a good size. Like it's not, I have really large hands, so I tend to go towards larger guns, but even this one, and again, this is clear, so we're safe. You can see that like, I can get my whole hand on this thing, and the gun that I normally carry is technically a smaller form factor, but the grip module is much smaller, so I'm hanging my pinky off the bottom of it. It works better for me. I'm more of a 4 o'clock guy than an appendix guy. Our viewers over 200 pounds will know why, but like, it's a good shape. It's a good size for a gun that's going to be a carry weapon. I don't know that this is going to be like a dedicated range toy, but this would be a great thing to wear with a suit or with shorts or with a hoodie. It's kind of going to be a 4-season gun, where some of these other guns that are a little larger are going to be a little harder to hide with, board shorts or shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, and you're getting, and again, this has 17 rounds where these others are just 15 rounders. So we have the Echelon Compact, the PDP 3.5 F, and then the new VP9 So yeah, these are all 15 rounders. So if I jump into the PDP, this is the Pro F. We've taken the magwell off just so they have the same kind of form factor, but this has their upgraded dynamic performance trigger in it from the factory. This is a direct mount optic, the SCS Holosun, that gives you the lowest form factor, but it is open emitter. Obviously you can run Glock sights. These have Ameriglows on it, or this pistol has Ameriglows on it, so, and it does co-witness with this like stock height sights. But this gun feels really great in the hand. They originally called this the F, and we're trying to market it to females. But I mean, I would say by and large, this is for guys as well. It feels really good in my hands. I've got long fingers, but not thick fingers. It feels really great. The problem I had with the previous, like the standard poly trigger, was the striker system is very different in these guns. it's almost like a slide hammer. And so you would get this weird impulse through the trigger, like it would smack you. You get like trigger slap. And it wasn't pleasant to shoot for 200 or 300 rounds. And they're a fairly snappy gun. We're playing with some new recoil systems, trying to get this down. I think we're gonna even go into porting on this, maybe like a V-style porting to try to get the recoil down further. But I mean, this shoots very similar, I would say, to a 4-inch gun, like a PPQ or a 4-inch PDP. It shoots very similar. The grip is a little bit slimmer because you don't have all the ergonomic swells like the standard PDPs or the PPQs, the VP9s. So it conceals pretty well, but I mean, shape to shape, you know, this is 15 versus 17. So, and the slide is obviously a lot thicker.
The difference in slide is enormous, especially because this is what you're going to be trying to tuck into a waistband. Like there's a significant difference in width there, and it's easy to see from the back. It's also easier to see once you put once you line the optics up, you can really see how this optic, which is not very large, overhangs the width of the gun, and this one is tucked in behind all of the slide because the slide is just enormous. And again, from the end, you can really get an idea of how, I don't want to point these at Stephanie, but you know, you get a really good idea for the difference in width. If nothing else is different, that alone makes this gun a little bit less concealable. But to Zach's point about the trigger, the trigger on this feels really nice when you squeeze it, but your reset feels weird. You can hear it. This is the most audible reset, I think, in the building right now. So we'll do that again. It's really loud. It doesn't feel terrible when you shoot it, but it's definitely different. Again, these are carry weapons, not so much, you know, range toys, competition guns. So those kind of become secondary or even tertiary to being able to conceal it and be accurate with it. It presents well. I have the big meaty hands that Zach mentioned earlier, so I tend to prefer guns that have more of a palm swell. So the grip module on this does not feel comfortable. I actually prefer the shape of the, especially that Wilson one, but of the 365X macro. This is a little rectangular. It feels kind of long in the hand as opposed to filling out the palm, so I feel it in the front and the back. But it's not terrible. Again, the point is to be able to tuck that thing under a shirt and hide it. And this is going to do that better than a VP9 or a full-size PDP that's got a huge, thick grip module.
So that's like an important point. So like if you do have thicker hands, this one's probably going to feel the best. I would say these are very similar in width. The Echelon and the PDP F is probably very close to this. One of the things I always struggled with the 365s in the past and why I never would carry them is I don't call it like the choke distance. Like this was always very, very slim, which is great for people with small hands. But I would find on a draw stroke, like I would grip it, it would feel weird when presenting. And so I would be actually slower with it than I would with a fuller size compact because of that like skinny distance. The macro addresses some of that. It's a little bit bigger than like a 365 XL or the 365. So I don't have as much of a problem on a draw stroke as that. But if we go to the Echelon, like this gun feels great. It's kind of a happy medium. It's a little bit lower profile than the PDP-F. It shoots better. It's a lot flatter shooting. I would compare these two. You know, this gun's smaller, but this probably has the same recoil impulse or slightly higher recoil impulse on the PDP-F. The Echelon is probably the smoothest shooting out of all of these. It does have a longer stroke, and I think that's what attributes to the smoothness. The full-size Echelon shoots phenomenal, and it's because of that. It has a very long recoil system. The springs on these things are like, I don't know, 10, 11 inches long. They're huge. They're huge. Monsters. But the trigger is very good in this. Reset is fine. You know, the ergonomics of the grip, it's basically a modified Glock. Like it's a modded Glock. So you have grip reduction, you've got accelerator places to put your thumbs on, you have a double undercut on here. The sights are fantastic out of the box. The cocking ears for people with arthritis, those are really nice. You don't have to grab by the optic and print it up. But it shoots nice. It's a great gun. It's very, to me, for some reason, vanilla. I have a hard time with Springfields because I just think about XDs, but this is a great gun.
Yeah, it's really taken highlights from all the other guns in the class and kind of gleaned out the best of the best. Like Zach said about the ears, they're very reminiscent of the ears at the back of a VP9 series, both the previous and current generations. And then when you look at the forward cocking serrations, they're very reminiscent of what you find on the PDP F, or really all PDPs. And then the grip module, again, you've got the nice swell at the back where the backstrap would be if this were modular, but then it's flat on the sides. So you're kind of, they've cherry picked all the best parts of all the other guns and they've kind of put it into one. It makes it a really nice shooter out of the box, but to Zach's point, it is a little vanilla. Somehow it's not inspiring. But again, these are carry guns, so if it's not inspiring and you know that you can carry it and it's reliable, that's really the most important thing, I think.
Yeah. All right, last and somewhat least, I'm super disappointed with this gun. I was so excited when HK announced that they were revving the VP9s because they're just great guns. They're great shooters. They're super reliable, great triggers on them, and they made all these promises. And really, I feel like we got the Euro slide cuts from the SP9 or SF9, whatever they used to call it in Europe. Obviously, it's optic ready. It's got the Ameriglow sights or whatever they're putting on it now, but it is the same top end. It's our same guide rod, it's the same slide length and everything. And then they shortened the grip, so you have less rounds. It's got a nice swell for a magwell, but everything feels the same. It just felt like you cut the grip down, which didn't, I mean, it changed concealability a little bit, but I mean, I would still probably reach for an SK, like Chris's SK over this. I don't think this gun makes sense. They claim they've updated the recoil system. We don't have very many rounds through this yet. Yeah, same cocking ears. The trigger, I know they said they put new coatings on it. I think it looks like there's some like electroless nickel on it or something. It feels the same. It's good. It's really good. I mean, it's very positive, no creep, good reset, everything you expect in a VP9 trigger. It's fantastic. The cocking serration upgrades, I don't feel like that's an upgrade. Like, it's still not super proud like any of these, but you know, it's going to be a good shooter. It's going to be a great gun. I don't know it doesn't make sense to me. It's not much more concealable. You've lost rounds, and I guess it's a carry gun, but it's like an intermediate between because of the slide length.
It doesn't really have a home because the CC9 is out now, and that's probably a better fit for comparison against carry guns only, where the new VP9K, it says so proudly on the slide, it's kind of a half step between a range gun or a competition gun and an actual dedicated carry gun. So, you know, to Zach's point, the grip module here, you can see with my big hands, my pinky has no home. So again, this is the same. It's slightly larger, kind of again a strange half step between my SK and a full-size VP9. And the huge slide, like, this is not going to tuck in nicely into, you know, really, I guess it's not that much bigger than the Echelon, but it feels larger in the hand. It feels markedly larger in the hand. I do like the triggers on these. It's a great gun. It's just not it's not a quantum leap forward from the last VP9. It is essentially, if you go buy a new VP9, you just say VP9 and it doesn't really matter which one you get. As long as it's optic ready, it's going to be the same gun. The back straps are interchangeable, the recoil systems are interchangeable, it just works.
Yeah, so if I had to rank them, my ranking score goes on trigger. I would still put the dynamic performance as number 1. I'd put this as number 2, and then I would go with Echelon and then followed by the 365 as far as factory.
Agreed.
I mean, concealability obviously goes to the macro. I would go macro. I would probably do the same kind of snake here as far as concealability. You do get a little bit more out of the 3.5, though. I really just feel like the 4-inch in this gun may make more sense. You get a little bit slimmer grip. You're going to get a lot more I don't know, recoil impulse off the 4-inch is going to be better. It's a totally different recoil system back to the full-size guns. And then, you know,
you mean a full-size PDP,
full-size PDP,
not
like
the
4-inch
F.
Yeah, the 4-inch. No, I think the 4-inch F is a great gun. I would probably prefer a 4-inch F over this 3.5. I don't feel like this half-inch gains you much, especially since it's going down into your pants. I feel like the 4-inch gun is going to shoot better because of the standard recoil assembly across all PDPs, the extra barrel length. It's going to have a better recoil impulse. I would probably skip the 3.5 F series.
Yeah, straight to the 4-inch. Again, I'm with Zach. I think that this is your winner for a carry gun out of the 4 that we have here. I don't know that I would put the F above the Echelon personally. Again, just because for a subcompact size, something with a sub 4-inch barrel,
Yeah.
I prefer my SK or even a CC9 over this one or this one. So of these 4, this guy is the one. I don't like the trigger at all, but it's a SIG. There's triggers that are available.
Yeah, the Ram trigger is fantastic.
Feels great. That's a fantastic upgrade. You can take one of these, put your favorite optic on it, put one of our guide rods in it, it comes compensated, change the trigger, maybe throw a Wilson grip module on there. You've not spent a fortune on a gun and have a fantastic carry gun that would be fun to shoot.
Yep. Yeah, we've actually got this one with a 13-pound recoil spring. We'll get in all this at the range, but we have actually 13-pound in here with the compensator. It runs fantastic. And factory is 17, I think, on this gun. We have one of our guide rods with I think this has the actual stock recoil spring on this one, but we do have a minus 10% as well. This has a new proprietary system that we're working on, but we sell a 17-pound F-Series rod as well. And then this is our 15-pound. Which does make a difference in shooting, but obviously let the gun break in. These come with like a 22-pounder from the factory, so we sell a 17 and a 15. So just based on your shooting, your ammo, and your grip. So
yeah,
we'll get these to the range.
We're probably going to talk a bunch about grip when we get to the range because it makes a huge difference for general shooting, but especially for defensive purposes.
Like and subscribe and keep following us for more content.